Alright, Dalton here with Tuesday's Tech Tip, Part 2, or Part Dos. So today we're going to be talking about Nearpod and Pear Deck and kind of comparing the two. This is something that I've been doing a lot for the past 2 months, trying to figure out which one will fully make me happy and kind of which one is the most feasible to have. So the agenda for today is a brief overview of Pear Deck. Then what I love about Pear Deck, and then what I wish I could change about Pear Deck. And then a brief overview of Nearpod, what I love about Nearpod, and then what I wish I could change about Nearpod. And then a quick reflection. So shout outs to Ms. Benetos and Ms. Giannotti for presenting PDs on each of these. So I had learned a little bit about Nearpod in college when it wasn't so developed. But besides that, both teachers here have kind of brought these apps to my attention. So again, I can't take credit. They showed me that kind of the basics about each, and then I kind of practiced with both. So this is kind of my experiences with each one. So again, for Pear Deck, an overview. So they have a student paced or a teacher paced. Student pace would be giving the kids the link and letting them work at their own pace, almost like a homework assignment. Teacher pace would be during live instruction, where you're going activity by activity with the students. They see what you want them to see. Another great feature is that it has all students answer all questions. So it's not so much about asking a question out loud to your class, or even if we were in a traditional classroom where you might ask a question and 5 students raise their hand and you have 1 student answer. This is when you ask a question, every student is expected to answer. It gives accountability for all students to be involved in the lesson. So you get to see the answers appear in real time as they're typed. So if they type the letter L, you see a letter L pop up. If you see them type the word revolution, you're going to see the word revolution appear in their answer. Next, they have the different types of options. So there are multiple choice activities you could include. Short answer, which is called the text feature. There's a drawable feature, and then a draggable feature where they can move things around to kind of show like a scale. It would also probably be good in math if you wanted them to plot a point. So you provide students with a link or with the code. There are 2 options with Pear Deck. It is $150 to have the drawable feature, the draggable feature, and then this takeaway feature. And I will talk about the takeaway in the next slide. So the pros. What are the highlights that really get me when it comes to Pear Deck? First is the co-teach feature. So in theory, if myself and my amazing, fabulous partner both have Pear Deck and we've bought the premium memberships, my partner can then share with me the link for the lesson, and I could not have to join as a student, but I'm able to join as a teacher. That means that when one teacher stops talking or finishes with an activity, their co-teacher can click to the next slide and then begin speaking. So it kind of allows for like a seamless, smooth ICT model in terms of even though it's virtual. So that was a really cool feature that kind of spoke to me. It is newer, and again, it does require that both members have the premium membership for that $150. The next is the takeaway feature, and that was something super important to myself and Ms. Hidalgo as well. The idea and concept that the students have their own copy. So if the students are going to be taking the time to write their answers, they should have all of this almost in a digital handout. So that's really cool because it's not really doing extra work for them, but then they can look back to their work when you want them to study, or if you want them to take a look back at, instead of saying, look at your notebook from yesterday, you could say, take a look at the takeaway from yesterday's lesson to help you with the warm-up for today's lesson. So that kind of allows for students to kind of stay organized and know exactly where their stuff is, and not have to answer in a notebook or refer back to different documents. It also was great because it allows for a shareable Google Sheets. You press develop results, and then it's I believe it's a Google Sheets file, and then you could just share that with your the teacher that you are working with. So those are some really cool highlights of Pear Deck that I really liked. So things that I wish could be a little bit better or different for Pear Deck. It is the more expensive of the two plans, of the two products, I should say. So obviously it is going to cost more, and right now money is tight. So it's difficult to use the Spotlight feature. It involves the idea of starring an answer. I know that when I was using this in the springtime and kind of experimenting with it after Miss Bonetto's presented about it, I experimented with it. It did seem to work, but then it is kind of difficult to go back and forth because you need the dashboard shows you where all the work is going, but then you can also kind of do like a projector version that you're sharing for the students. So you want to share the projector version with the students in the Google Meets. They also get their own version of that projector as well. And then kind of like the good stuff is hidden away in the dashboard. It is now currently a premium feature. So in order for you to utilize the dashboard and to be able to do something like that, you do need the premium $150 feature. So that again is a drawback from there. So next up was Nearpod. So an overview. Again, there's a student paste and a teacher paste, just like with Pear Deck. It also has all students answer all questions. Sorry for the typo. Now that it's all fixed up, I apologize about that typo. So again, it has all students answer all questions, so there is accountability that requires all students to be involved and engaged in your lessons. That's going to be super important, especially with this virtual concept. You can't really see if a student is sleeping on the keyboard, if a student is playing a video game, or if a student is actively sitting behind the keyboard, confused about the question. So this kind of allows you to at least see when a student is involved, and then you can kind of call students out and also praise students that are involved. So it gives you can kind of hold the students that maybe are being shy or falling behind. You can try to reel them back in. And for the students who are being absolute rock stars, you can praise them, which is another cool feature. It has a lot more different type of activities than what Pear Deck has, though. So it does allow you to do a poll. So it's kind of like a multiple choice question without any accountability. And then you can share the results. It also has a multiple choice quiz feature. So that would be great in terms of like an exit slip or asking multiple questions that you want to review in multiple choice form. It could be two answers, 3, 4. I think the maximum is 5 options. Or 4, but typically we only use 4 regardless. And again, you can kind of build a quiz to have multiple questions, or it could simply just be a one question A, B, C, or D kind of situation. They also have open-ended, or they call short answer, so that you could have them type one sentence, one word, one paragraph. It does have a drawable feature as well, similar to Pear Deck. It has a collaborative board. I'll explain more about that in the next slide. Has a fill-in-the-blank draggable option, so that's really great for vocabulary. If you really don't think students are going to understand based on context clues, you could develop the fill-in-the-blanks for the vocabulary, so that way students can kind of figure it out on their own while also kind of giving them that scaffold. It's also great in terms of like a vocabulary review game. Give them a bunch of definitions, have them drag the words to the blank, so that way they can still complete the definition and be able to look back at that to study. It has a matching pairs option. It allows for Flipgrid. I haven't really experimented too much, but I know that a lot of the math teachers have done that. And then it also has something called Time to Climb. That's another feature I'll mention in the next one. So to join Nearpod, it is $0 for the silver level. And then it's $120 for the gold level. I'll talk about that when I talk about the kind of drawbacks of this program. So some of the pros, things that I love about Nearpod. The Spotlight feature. You can click immediately in your dashboard. It does say, my goodness, I'm so sorry. It says, I think, share. you click that button, and all students in your class that are involved in that link will all see the same answer. So if you love the answer that one of your students wrote, you can click share. You could have either that student read it out loud while all the students see it, or you could have a different student that might have not gotten to the right answer. You could have that student read the correct answer. So there are a lot of different ways to utilize a Spotlight feature. Again, I had more difficulties using that with the Pear Deck program. And again, it was kind of difficult because that is a premium feature on Pear Deck where this is allowed on Nearpod. So spotlighting correct answers, you can kind of retract that share, and then you could share multiple answers during a share out. So it kind of would allow multiple students to get involved, even if they didn't get to the right answer. So I do like that feature a lot. There's a collaborative board, so it kind of seems like a giant bulletin board, and then the students write their answer on like a little sticky note similar to Jamboard, and they can put their answers right there. So I love that one because it allows students to kind of see other students and respond to their different students' ideas. So it's not so much a verbal share out, but it does allow for a constructive, well-written share out. There's also the time to climb feature. It's essentially a built-in Kahoot. So it has a lot of the Kahoot vibes. Students are given a certain time limit that you set. Students then pick an avatar, and after they find out if they got the answer correct, they're rewarded points, and then they climb up a mountain. They watch their avatar climb up. And it's essentially a race to the top to see who's in first place and so on. So it is cool to have like a built-in Kahoot. And all the features are enabled, so there isn't anything that's only allowed for premium members. Also something that's great, because if you like one of the features, you can use it even if you're using the free membership. So what are the drawbacks of Nearpod? The only way to co-teach is by using the same account, so you would have to feel very comfortable with your co-teacher and share your login information and just log in together at the same time, which some people are not at that level, and it's uncomfortable. So that it's kind of difficult when you are co-teaching. The storage size is determined by your membership level. So at the free level of silver, you can basically have about 4, using a few of the features in each of your slides for your lesson, you could have about 3 or 4 active lessons. After that, you have to delete it, which means students cannot go back to complete that work. So if you want students to do this as like a homework assignment or an interactive that they have to finish for independently, they will be unable to do that. Also, the interactive features use more storage or space, so the more stuff you're using to try to make your lessons more engaging and more interactive, that's going to slow it down, and that's going to take up more space. So that's why it's kind of almost necessary to at least have that gold level in order to effectively use it. By using gold level, you'll probably be able to cycle through every month to take down work or add new work. So final reflection, how do you feel about these? Feel free to comment below or also email me about how you feel about this and if that's something that you're interested in. So next Tuesday's Tech Tip, we're going to be looking at ClassKick. I'm pretty sure we're going to be investigating this program. Thanks, Ms. Hidalgo, for bringing this program to my attention. I know that as co-teachers, we are going to be exploring with this, so we will give our professional opinions on how it went next Tuesday. So I hope this helps, and have a wonderful day.